Hey all, it's Paul from Drums and Rums with the Backbeats Meets the Spirits, and as most of you know, I'm based here in South Florida. As you see behind me there is the water, and across it is Palm Beach, where all the news is about. So our guest here today is writer, model, CEO of her privately owned luxury lifestyle public relations company, and a big-time supercar fanatic. This is Palm Beach and more. We're on.
Yeah. Oh, we are.
We're on. So here we are. I said in that intro there, we talked about we're in Palm Beach. Well, we're kind of near Palm Beach. We're West Palm Beach, but yet Palm Beach, it's all Palm Beach. So let me welcome to the podcast here, Reina Kendall. How you doing, Reina?
I'm great. How are you today?
So there you go.
I'm great. How are you today? I was told I need to speak into the mic.
Yes. Yeah, you got to eat. They call it you have to eat the microphone. Nom, 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 nom.
Nom, 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 nom.
So yeah, welcome to coming on the show here. I know we've been chatting for a while.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah, and we first met at an event that you were hosting.
Yeah.
Right. In here in West Palm Beach. I guess we'll give them a shout out there. Well, the Vinyl Fish Club, right?
That's right. Vinyl Fish Club. Hello.
So pretty cool place. And there was what was again? Remind me, what was the event for? It was a charity event. You were fundraising.
Yes, we were raising money for the Gent Rowe Foundation, which is an organization that's been come together to raise money to create these mentoring programs and other support for underprivileged communities, mostly for young boys at this stage. And it's a great nonprofit. It's brand new. So it was just also get some awareness about the nonprofit because since it's new, a lot of people don't know about it. So, spreading the word as much as possible.
Right. It's excellent. Check. Okay.
Check.
I'll cut all that. That's the editing part, right?
Yes, got it.
So, it's always the fear of, is it still recording?
No, that's
Nobody
okay.
else.
Listen, I roll with the punches. That I'm good at.
So I think that's a great thing is because there's certain charities, how do you get the word out there? Whether there's, again, we're here in Palm Beach. A lot of people live here. The opportunity and to fundraise. I'll at least say it so I don't put you on the hot seat and say
that's fine.
There's a lot of money in Palm Beach.
Sure.
Right. There's a lot of money. Again, not but there's opportunities for being philanthropist.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's a hard word to say.
It is.
Philanthropic.
Philanthropic.
There you go. That's the word I wanted to say. and but that's great because I think there's so many charities. There's so many people that need. There are legitimate needs to try to get the word out there.
Absolutely. Yes.
So as I always say, just because we live in Palm Beach County, I don't live in over there, right? That's what everyone thinks of. It's like Palm Beach County is a large county.
It is.
Yeah. So and there's a lot of but it's great to So sorry about the story. Yes, about the charity there. Yes.
So honestly, it's interesting because I am a philanthropist, and I'm actually on the board of ambassadors for the American Cancer Society, and we have an Evening of Hope coming up June 2nd, and I'm involved with a couple different groups, and I ran for LLS Woman of the Year last year, and I got second place against this woman who came in first, who raised $450,000. I commend her at one event. So coming in second and running my own game was fantastic. But I will tell you, there are a lot of opportunities, but there is a lot of need. And so I think that people recognize that. And I think that, awareness is the big one. You want to create awareness.
Right. And that ties into your company.
Right.
You're the public relations, marketing, social media is big, right? So let's talk about the company here, your public relations company.
So I just started my company about a year ago. I've been involved with a lot of different things at the same time, and so it's been a slow progression, but it's okay because that's how because I've been involved with a lot of different things, so that it's normal that happens. But basically, it's interesting because I like to grow organically. My company's growing organically. I grow my Instagram organically. I'm a big believer in that because I believe in the idea that you have followers that are going to stick with you, and instead of having these machines and all this other stuff, I never buy followers.
Right.
That's just my choice. But the interesting thing about my public relations company is that, like, you know, as it's growing organically, it's taken an interesting turn because my interests are I have interest in a lot of different things. They're pretty broad, but I am very interested in helping with, philanthropic initiatives and things like that. And so there's an element of that to my PR company that maybe I didn't anticipate in the beginning, but it's been really good. You know, it's been really nice. And that's what brought me to Vinyl Fish Club.
Okay. So there's a lot of, it seems like you've got a lot of different experiences, a lot of different things you've learned over the years. That you've been able to use all those tools together, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's so the importance of what I was really found interesting was we do our pre-show questionnaire, all the guests to kind of get a feel for what they're about, what they're into, dig a little bit more, but the company, right? Your and I think there's a lot of interesting parts when I talk to different rum companies, and most of these rum companies are trying to crack into the market. And as I always say, 50% of the rum market. Mm-hmm. Again, we're just talking one spirit now, right? So of the whole, but 50% of the rum market is owned by two of the largest companies that's heavily marketed. You want to take a guess who they are?
I don't know. Tell me.
So Bacardi and Captain Morgan.
Okay.
Right. So you know the names, right?
No, of course. Yeah.
Huge.
I mean, Bacardi has a huge area at the Miami Heat.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So, but you have a smaller company, and there are different scales of how they get their bottle, whether they distill their own, they maybe buy it for somebody else, contract still, whatever the case may be. It is tough to crack into that market.
Sure.
And some of the brands that I have had on, I find it very fascinating how they've approached their social media. Mm-hmm. They've been very aggressive, been very guerrilla. Mm-hmm. If you're really wanting to move, I think there's some that probably could use some help. So I don't know if I'm plugging opportunities for those that are maybe listening.
That's right.
Yep, there you go. But I think there's such a presence. Back to the point about the charity awareness.
Yes.
If people don't know if you got a product, and people don't know who you are or what you got. Then it is very difficult to make be in business and so forth. So So you can talk a little bit about some of the marketing that you do, or for some of the customers or clients.
Well, I'll tell you, for one thing, is what's really interesting about me specifically, that I own my company here in Palm Beach, is that Palm Beach is a very unique community in general. It's a lovely community. It's close to my heart. I'm from New York originally, which I think you knew, and I've been coming here, though, since I was a few weeks old because my grandparents lived on the island, and I was very close to my grandmother, and so I have a real love for the community. And so I've seen it as it's changed, and it has changed. It's very different now than it was, but there is still that element of the original roots, right? Well, having that kind of knowledge and experience is definitely a big positive for me. And I find that in business because the people who really know Palm Beach culture and know where it is in its roots and the old traditions, like sitting at the counter at Green's Pharmacy at the luncheonette and doing that, or going to St. Edward's Church or the Paramount Building. There's so many things about Palm Beach that are really landmark experiences that I know about that a lot of people who have moved here recently, they don't know really anything about. They see the new Palm Beach. And so that has been really a positive for me. And I use that as a writer. I can speak in a way that they understand my voice, that people recognize my voice. So no matter what platform I'm on, it's consistent. And talking about the Palm Beach and understanding that culture, it's a great way for me to relate to my clients.
So that's a perfect, because most people far away that has known about Palm Beach for years, whether it's gone far back as Flagler, and there's such a history of that. And then to even the Kennedys, the southern White House here in across the water there, and which, by the way, that if you are here in Palm Beach or if you're visiting, I don't know if they've reopened it, but there was a man-made island, right? Peanut Island.
Peanut Island.
Peanut
yes.
Island, yes.
Yes.
Peanut Island here. It's right at the inlet of Palm Beach. And there's a bunker down in the ground, and I'm not quite sure how you made a man-made island,
Sandbar.
but I guess there's a lot of dirt and sand, but that's where the bunker was,
Yes.
because we were during the Cold War. That's some pretty cool history here in Palm Beach, and let alone current a lot of politicians, a lot of, as you mentioned, new money or new celebrities, right?
Yes.
They're always moving in.
There's a lot going on. I don't know how aware you are of it because you're a little bit north of here, but there's a lot of really exciting stuff actually happening here in the community. It's very big. There's a huge flux of companies coming from the north, and they're moving their businesses down here. And it's amazing what they're doing and how they're working with organizations like the Business Development Board, which has helped these companies come here, develop themselves, and grow. And it's has grown our economy here, and it's actually going to be the new Wall Street, which is fantastic. I think we've had a lot of growth. We have the related companies here. We have so many different ones that they're building. I mean, Nora is being built. We have the new 360 building where Goldman Sachs is. So this whole entire community is going through a major advancement, and it's very exciting.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it might be hard to see in the camera there if you're watching the video, but behind you see the cranes, and of course, anytime you see in a downtown setting and is the cranes are up, that there's development going on and growth and so forth, that a lot of it's in. And I've been here. I've also originally from the north,
right,
but I've lived down now in Palm Beach County going on over 20 years.
Wow.
And even in the time that I've lived here, and even seeing the downtown area change a lot,
I mean, it has changed so much. It's unbelievable. I remember being a little kid, and it was the crime. It was horrible. We were in the car. It was very unsafe. Clematis Street is up for a major improvement, but it was, light years worse when I was a child. So it's amazing. They've really come far. And as you're correct, because right behind us actually is the Flagler Financial District, which they're turning into the Wall Street. But all these condominiums, everything's being built up here. There's going to be tons of places for people to move in, a lot of foot traffic. It's going to change even more.
Right. So, and to the point when she's talking about when she was a child, that was only like 10 years ago. Okay.
No, I'm really young.
Yes.
I am.
Yes, I believe it.
But I do have this experience, and
right.
It's true, watching, if you pay attention, not everyone has that much of an interest, but I've always been fascinated by the growth of cities and seeing how they evolve and what you're doing with the economy, and especially with what's gone on with COVID and everything else, with our situation that we are in.
Right.
This is the time that we need to make a change, and it's a very proactive movement that's going on in West Palm Beach, and I think that's amazing.
No, I think that, as you mentioned there, in your writing style and your writing voice, it's because you're speaking because you know it, right? You've been around, or even before you fully moved down here, and the area enough in the ins and outs, and I'm sure maybe for our Patreon viewers, we'll ask Reina, like, where are the bodies at? Yeah.
We should do a walking tour. We can do a walking tour. I would love that.
Would be
we
great.
Could do that.
Yes. So we should. Maybe not. We always have these crazy ideas on the podcast.
I think that's really good.
We should do a walking tour. That's like a fundraiser walking tour that people tune in, like on a Patreon or something. Okay, here we go. So we're gonna don't steal our idea. Well, nobody will steal his idea until they actually see this released. So we got to get working on it now.
Yes, we do.
Yes, okay.
And we could even stop by a few of the new bars and check out who they have as their local rums. If they have any local distilleries that they work with, we can learn a lot. This is a worldly experience.
Yes, so we're a walking tour. Yes.
So we should do that for sure.
Yes.
It's amazing it's interesting because when I tell people that I'm a writer, everybody always, that's the thing that catches their interest more than anything else that I tell them. They go, "Oh wait, you're a writer." And the thing about me as a writer is I'm a lifestyle type of writer. I am all about the voice and connection, and it's not really mundane, historic or anything like that. It's very much of a conversation type of writing. It's a dialect, and that's how I post my copy and my Instagram and my Facebook, and how I do that. And it's that same kind of language. I speak as if I'm speaking in person, and and I think it's very relatable.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. So what is, for those that don't know, what is a lifestyle writer, content creator, or
Yes.
explain what that is?
Well, I mean, it's always true, you know. That's for the first thing,
Right.
you know. So that's a lot of it is. For the way that I write, it's very much I'll cover events and I'll do different things like that. And I covered today, I posted about this amazing event that Annie Watt has every year. She's an incredible society photographer, event photographer here in Palm Beach, and she's also in New York and Paris, and she's all over. And she's an amazing woman. And she had her annual. It's called Impromptu Portraits is the event. She has it at the Colony, and it's a fundraising event, and it's very neat the way that it goes down. She has black and white photos. They're portraits of people that from the area who she's taken. It's an invite only. It's a very exclusive event. But, you know, for instance, like I covered that event, and I'll write about it. And that's the kind of thing that I'll write about, you know, very much in the know, what's happening now, a recap. But then I will also talk about other things that I'm interested in. I love fashion. For instance, I absolutely love fashion. And so I will completely veer off into something about fashion and style and runway and interesting things that are happening right now in that market. And then I'll be talking about a fundraiser about this one in particular, actually, which dear to my heart is that it was 100% of the proceeds went to the Palm Beach Police, which is amazing. Yeah, and Iris Arpal was the one who was the guest of honor, and it was her choice for the charity, and it was fantastic.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you have an event after this.
I
so,
do.
Yes.
I don't really have technically an event. I'm going to stop by.
Okay.
Because it's already started. But you know, yes, I do. I try to stay very much aware of what's happening in my community. I like to know what's going on. I ask questions. I'm a big believer in always educating yourself and growing. And so even if I pop into different places, I like to have a good sense of what's happening in my area, in my community. And so that's why I tend to do that a lot.
Well, as we always say, it's a matter of local is going to impact you before national, right?
Yeah.
Right. So it's always important to take care of local, vote local, you know, all the other things, you know, support local.
Yeah, support your small
businesses. You know, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, these are the people in your neighborhood, okay?
Mm-hmm. They are.
Right. Yeah. Big shout out to Sesame Street there.
Sesame Street.
So some of those. Let me jump back to some of the marketing.
Sure.
So, what are some of the things that you would work with a client on who's looking to, you know, for your service, as you know, to help with marketing, like a brand or a product?
So, well, first of all, one of the things that I would first say is that the goal is to make sure that you have a very strong brand message. You start with your brand strategy, your brand campaign. That is the number one thing, because you want to make sure that it is consistent across everything you do as well. So if you have a strong mission statement and a strong brand identity, it's gonna transfer so that people recognize it wherever they are. So let's say whether they're using Instagram or they're using Twitter or they're using LinkedIn, it's recognizable and it's consistent throughout every single platform. That is right from the beginning. I think that is something you want to really hone in on. And then it really depends. It's customized. I mean, I'm a privately owned company. Very much it's very custom for the person that I'm working with, the client, and what their needs are. If they have a specific event, we might focus on that. It really depends on their needs. But you know, whatever you're doing, if you're doing any kind of promotions or you're trying to raise money or whatever your goal is, the brand message needs to be very clear, and the identity needs to be very clear and not complicated,
right?
You know, so that people are, you know, it's recognizable. I always talk about this. Like I worked with Vineyard Vines in their corporate office. I was the assistant to the owners and the president for many, many years before. Not many, many years. I don't even know why I'm saying that. It was like 5 years. But I was there with them, and they from the beginning before they took off. If you're familiar with Vineyard Vines, they're amazing guys. I love them. And when they opened their first retail store in Greenwich, Connecticut, one of the things that they did was they had these foam whale hats, these pink foam whale hats. Well, it was the best. It was such a great way to market themselves and to create awareness and to create some buzz and to get everybody to know, hey, the store's here. Hey, visit our store. Because you looked around that day and it was just pink whale hats going down, up and down Greenwich Avenue. It was so funny, but it was effective.
Right.
It was, because everybody said, hey,
I
where'd you
know.
get that hat? I want to get that hat. And it's amazing how it just takes off. That kind of branding, that kind of marketing, that kind of buzz, that creation is huge. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be that fancy or complicated. It just works.
It's keep it simple, right?
Exactly.
Keep it simple.
Kiss. For sure.
Right. So I think that's a lot of like I mentioned, I think again, some of the companies, some of the brands, again, they're small and they don't have a whole lot of money, but some of it is maybe certain techniques. Maybe you
have to get creative.
Oh, right, for sure.
You have to be creative, and you have to be motivated, and you have to just keep thinking outside of the box.
Right.
And network. Ask people questions. Learn from people around you. I do this all the time. I'm constantly talking to different people, and I always show up. I always say yes. I'm a big believer in, even if I'm really late, which happens more often than I want it to, I always try and at least show up. Make a point to be there if you can, because you never know what's going to come out of it. And I've met some of the most amazing people here that helped me grow here just by popping in.
Right. And be in the presence and face time.
Open-minded.
Right. And you never know. Never, as you said, never say no to an opportunity.
No.
I know some people get kind of a little uncomfortable with the promotion or self-promotion.
Yes,
right.
Self-promotion is a tough one. People, and I have a recent client, who has brought that up, and I have to tell you, as a model, I have trouble with it. Having pictures of me and all of this and doing that, it feels very uncomfortable for me. But, when I'm doing that kind of work, that's what I need to do. That's what you have to do. So it's expected. However, it is funny because self-promotion is a funny thing because it can give off a sense of, well, at least we can feel as if we're being arrogant.
Right.
And that's not the goal. But it can be uncomfortable for that reason.
Well, and it was just a couple episodes ago, I was talking about a reference to, there was a brand and they were talking about how they came up with the name, and it was surprisingly that they were able to get the name, nobody had it. But I said, I'm really surprised that somebody didn't snatch up the name was because it was a Kiss reference.
Oh.
And I says, I'm really surprised, Gene Simmons didn't snatch up that. Talk about king of promotion. And
oh, yeah.
He's got no shame
in
whatever, but he's, I don't know. It's almost a little comical now because of how much people know how just overboard.
It is. Yeah. But it's also, honestly, it works. If things work and people are grooving to that, then
right.
I mean, hey, they're onto something.
And again, if you don't let people know about it, then they're not going to know about it, right? So for sure. So tell us. Okay, so you mentioned modeling. So yes. So
I consider myself an accidental model. I started modeling as part of my career when COVID hit. And the reason why was because I moved down here to West Palm Beach permanently about 4.5 years ago.
Okay.
And when I was here, I at the time I was writing my blog and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I had just moved from Connecticut and I was doing events. So I was doing hospitality and events. Well, the second COVID hit, I was out of work because there were no events, right? So I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? How am I going to pay my bills? So I was like, I have to think outside of the box. I reinvent myself. And so I did. And I decided I would become a model because that was, my accidental model is what I would do because I needed to make money. And I figured, you know what? No better time than now because there were all these photographers who were also out of work. And I was like, teach me. And that's when that started. So, and it's not my main career. It's something that I do on the side. But I've enjoyed it. And it's added a different element because it's the part of me that loves fashion so much is that I get to explore that some.
So there's a big plus to it, right? Yeah,
there is. As I said, I'm always learning. There's always something, and so the modeling has been interesting. I was cast for Fort Lauderdale Fashion Week for 2 different designers. We'll see what happens with Miami Swim Week.
Okay.
But I'll keep you posted. But it's interesting because I never really expected that path, but it's been really enjoyable.
Very cool. So follow. We'll get to the shameless plugs at the end there. So, but follow on our Instagram there, and don't be creepy about it, okay? Yeah. So it's kind of interesting as how some of that is. So do you are you agent yourself, or do you have an agency?
No, I'm actually I'm represented by 3 actually. Okay. I have John Casablanca, Miami Model Management, and Excel Modeling in New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
if you're looking to get into modeling, hit Reina up. She'll give you some tips and so forth. So there we had a guest on back in March. She does modeling. She travels, and she's talked about I guess a lot of it you got to travel away because when you're like the new person in town, I guess in this city, photographers. I don't know. I'm going to screw it up and try to explain it. But anyway, so you just got to go back and listen to that episode there. But Raven Lynette is who I was talking about, the guest. And yeah, she does a lot of modeling. And she does some adult modeling too.
Right.
So again,
that's
it's
what you mentioned to me.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's you got to do what you got to do. And, so anyway, it's a pretty interesting.
See, mine's unique because for me, it's not my full-time job.
Right.
So I would love to have the leisure to just be able to just pick up and go, and a lot of people do that because that's their career. So it's a little bit challenging for me because I would find that if I had to go to rehearsals or something, like I might have a business meeting.
Right.
You might have a client.
You got other stuff going on.
So
right.
to do. So I don't have both feet in on that.
Right.
I have one foot in. But you know what? She's right because if you really want to make it, you got to be in Milan. You have to be in Paris. You have to be in all of those fashion weeks, casting and meeting designers and putting yourself out there.
Right. Instead of just staying local where
you have to really expand.
Right. So some of the modeling also, though, it ties you in with, okay, how does the supercars come into play? Okay. So recently I actually left Supercar Week in December. I was there with them for 3 years. Did you guys see that smile when I talked to, when I mentioned Super? Okay, again, you're listening, you don't see the smile, but watch the video, yes.
Well, here's why, and I'll tell you why, because my love for cars starts for the time I was literally born. I was named after one of my grandfather's car dealerships in Kendall, Miami. I'm Reina Kendall. And so I have loved cars way before Supercar Week. I've loved them my whole life. I'm a big Formula One fan. I've been to Bahrain and Monaco to see the races there, Formula One. So I've loved cars, and I actually stumbled upon Supercar Week because I had just moved here, and I on my own saw that there was a Ferrari Concorso, and it was in Abacoa, and I went by myself that day to check out the Ferraris because I love cars, and I stumbled upon the guys from Supercar Week, and that's how that connection happened. But I've loved cars my whole life.
Very cool.
Yeah. And I'm not your traditional car lover. When it comes to women, I guess like what you'll hear is that women will say, and listen, I don't know if that's true, but they'll say like women just like the way it looks and everything. No, I want to know what's under the hood. I want to hear about the exhaust. I want to know how this car performs. That's how much I love them.
All right, guys, there you go. You got to be all don't be all show and no.
You have to know. Well, you know what? There's there's a beauty behind the automobile industry. It's very interesting. There is a huge car community, especially here. I mean, it's a cult following, and it's wonderful. Do you go
to the Palm Beach Cars and Coffee?
I don't. You know what? That one I don't go to, but I go to the Palm event, and I go to. I'll go to different ones that they have, like the Boca Elegance. I've been to all of that.
Yeah, it's true.
And Supercar we have, and then there's Floyd does an amazing job on Las Olas. He does an incredible job at exotics on Las Olas. So there's a lot of there's a lot of different shows to see all the time.
Okay.
And I've been a member of the Ferrari Club of America, and although I don't make all their events, which I would really wish I could. It's a cult. People love it, and I love that sense
to be around
of
the car. Yeah, to be around that.
It's great, but you hear the engines. It's like you go to a race and you can feel it in your chest. It's that vibration in your chest. There's nothing like it.
Oh yeah. So all right. Well, speaking of that, then is the Ford versus Ferrari, a very storied.
Yes.
Even though I know they made a movie, it only took 50 years to make a movie about it, and of course you throw Matt Damon in it, and I forget the other guy's name now, but But yeah, that was a great story, again, about history, about the whole story. Again, some poetic licensing, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But still, Ford went and built a supercar to beat the Ferrari, and they did. And, and there's a whole lot of story about it. So
Ferrari, though, it's funny because it's funny you bring that up because Ford is one of my favorite American-made cars. Ford, because. And I like the idea of having things made here in America. I like supporting our industry here. But Ferrari is, it's funny. I've been in Bugattis. I owned a Maserati. I've driven so many cars.
But I think it's because
I love
they make
Ferrari.
Amazing cars. It's hand built.
And I'm Italian.
So,
that helps.
All right, there's something.
Now we
no,
get
but
to
you know, it's so funny. Like one of my favorite race car drivers was a Ferrari driver. Like I just love it.
Yeah.
It's so elegant. It's just interesting. Yeah.
So you're going to be at the Miami Grand Prix?
I would love to be. I wasn't there last time, so I'm hoping this time for sure. I would love to be. I'm actually excited that they're having one in Vegas too. At some point, maybe I'll make it there. I
three this year in the U.S.
Austin, Vegas, and Miami are the three, and it's awesome. It's so awesome. Formula One is a totally different race than any of the other races.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? It's just the community, but it's very luxury lifestyle.
Sure.
And the cars are gorgeous cars, and it's just the brands
it's,
that follow it are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just really,
it's international.
It's
That's,
international,
I think,
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's a big thing.
It is.
I'm going to be at the Miami Grand Prix.
That's right. You told me that. I wish I was going. Maybe he can invite me.
Yeah.
I would love to go. But yeah, you're going, and that's awesome.
Yeah,
So did you go last year?
I did not. So this will be my first year. So
congratulations.
I'll tell you off camera why and how I'm actually able to go. But
excellent.
That's a whole nother story.
Good.
Yeah, so I think you're right. I mean, again, I've always loved cars and, love cars that, necessarily I can't afford, but still, you still love them as whether it's like a piece of art,
It is a piece of art.
And, and whether it's a Ferrari or, there's a lot that goes into it. Not only, as you said, the styling and the way it looks, but the engine, the exhaust, and the specifications, how fast can it go? That's always a big one, right?
Do you like to drive? I'm curious. Are you a driver?
Why I don't know.
I love to drive. Like I'm
you're not asking me like drive for Uber.
No, but I mean, no, but like I love to drive. Like I'm always in the car. I love it. When I'm having a stressful day, I can get in the car and I listen to music and I just drive and it clears my head and it's that feeling. But I have many friends who do not feel this way. Yeah. And I'm curious because can you be a driver? Can you not be a driver and love cars? A different kind of love for cars.
You be a driver, not love cars.
Do you see what I'm saying? If you don't enjoy driving them.
Well, I do enjoy. Depends, and of course, we all have our moments. I do like driving. I do have a truck, and when I bought that truck, I was in between. Did I want to buy a Mustang, a GT, 5.0, or did I really want a truck? And what I compromised was an F-150 with the 5.0 motor, with the Mustang motor in it.
The F-150 is an awesome truck.
It is very fast.
I have driven that truck and I love it.
It's not it's not a Lightning, it's not a Raptor, it's not one of those things, but it's still a very fast truck. So yeah, I do like to drive. Yeah. I think again. Now I grew up for a period of time before I moved down here was in Daytona, so of course NASCAR, the 24 hours races. All of that, watching the cars at nighttime brake, going into the hairpin turns and the brakes glowing red, so that's a whole. I mean, usually most people go to just a drink and party, but there's actually car enthusiasts who do enjoy that kind of stuff. So yeah. It's interesting. So I do drive.
That's good.
Yeah, so I do like driving.
After this whole interview, he's going to be driving more. Don't you see that in his future? I do.
We're going to go. We're going go-karting.
Yeah. We'll do that for sure.
Upcoming. You mentioned the
American Cancer.
Yes. Yep. And then you also the new one you mentioned with the first responders.
Yeah. So I haven't. So I very lightly. We are working out the details. Okay. I very lightly discussed this, but I do have a community project that I'm going to be working with the county on. And it's in relation to some of our first responders, and I will be sharing all of the details when I have more of the details because I don't want to jump the gun here. But I'm looking forward to it. I think that it's gonna make it's a passion project of mine that I've wanted to do since COVID hit, and I'm excited that it's actually going to happen. It's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to be impactful.
Right.
And I'm so excited for that.
No, it's there's a lot, especially with the first responders. They've gone through. I mean, the whole world's gone through. First responders gone through a lot. Talk about even going further back to 9/11. People. This is why people get into to be protect and serve. As great friends of ours, there was a law enforcement based podcast, Failure to Stop. They cover a lot of stuff about first responders, and they're also former police officers too. So they're taking it from a different perspective of a lot of how things are going, and it's weird as also how. law enforcement's been kind of put in a different light that's most people aren't familiar with, and is it fair? Anyway, but I think you know what I'm.
Yeah, I mean, I would say in general, I was 9/11 was a very scary time. My father was working on Wall Street at the time, and he saw the second plane go by his building. My father survived; he was okay, and we're very thankful for that. But my dad, he had so many people that he knew, and it was a horrible time. And Rudy Giuliani, he did a fantastic job at the time running that, and everything they needed to do, to respond and to take action. And I read his book, and I thought that he did a fantastic job as a leader. And I think that, men and women who choose, or men, women, and whatever, who choose to join the service, whatever that may be, these are heroes, because not everybody wants to do that. Not everyone is willing to risk their life. These are very specific people that have that in them, and we want to celebrate that.
Right.
We want to celebrate them, and we want to encourage other people to, if they feel that inside them, to join and to continue this as we go. So, but yes.
No, yeah. Look, it's like whether it's the military or law enforcement or whatever. It's you need them, right? Those that have that drive to be in that role and to serve the people and protect the people, and so I guess there are a few apples, but there's a few bad apples everywhere you go.
Of course.
But it's just sometimes a bummer that it gets kind of dwelled on.
Well, I will make a shout out to one of my, before we go, I make a shout out to one of my favorite groups. They're Vietnam veterans group here. They're located in Loxahatchee. If you're local, they're named Project 425. I have worked with them on 3 different projects. These are my friends. They are amazing guys right from Vietnam, and they have great stories, and they are incredible leaders, and they're right here. So, cool. If you ever run into them at an event, they give back a lot. They're great guys. It's Project 425.
Very cool.
Michael Carroll is the leader.
All right, very cool. Yeah, my father had served in Vietnam before he became a citizen. So he had served and just one tour, but it's still he was very 9/11 really struck him, and to the point, and was one, what can I do? And again, we were in a really, I think most of us know the history, but not to get too much dwelled into it, is we were all very, as a country, it's unfortunate a single event like that unfortunate single event like that brought the country together. But then we went back to oddities. So I don't know why, if we can do it for one event, why can't we ever rally around for other reasons that are not unfortunate? But yeah.
Unfortunately, the way that life is that we do tend to fall into the idea that, like, and this is just a thought of mine, is that we're invincible until something happens, and then when it happens, we all go into like mode. Right. And it's not a positive thing, but it does force us to really rethink things a little bit. And 9/11, we still don't know the dangers from that. We still don't know the chemicals and things that were released into the atmosphere from the burning buildings and all of the machinery and everything that was burned. What these people exposed themselves to for the rest of us was really something else.
Right. Yeah. It's
really
amazing. Yeah. And
when we don't know, we still don't know.
Yeah. There was a lot to it. So.
So
all right, so while we get ready to wrap some things up here, so I know what's going to come up next here.
What? Go ahead.
So we have a rapid fire segment. So I'm going to put you kind of on the
I actually don't know this. Did you know this?
I know this.
Yeah.
So we have our segment here. So Reina, I would say you're probably more aligned closer to our rum side of the podcast,
yes.
right?
Oh,
and so this is
surprised.
Yeah, you do have a soggy dollar story. Yes. Before we get into it, hold on. All right.
Yes, so I have been to the Soggy Dollar. I've been sailing throughout the BVI's 6 times on catamaran, and I've been to the Soggy Dollar bar. And when I was getting married a couple of years ago, I actually had them ship all of their cups. I ordered something like 500 cups. They're special signature cups, which if you've been to the Soggy Dollar, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I had 500 of those cups shipped to me for the wedding. Yeah, and that was our signature cocktail.
The painkiller.
I love the painkiller. It's so good.
Copyrighted, trademarked.
Yes.
Can't make it with anything else other than pussers. All right, so here we go. So we're going to go with in 4 sips or less. That's what the rummer guests are. As I call them, the rummers. Either you're a drummer or you're a rummer. So we'll put it in that sense. So I'm going to consider you a rummer.
Okay.
So we're going to say in 4 sips or less here. So first question is, in 4 sips or less, what empowers you?
What empowers me?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, what empowers me is my story. I was very sick I was living in and out of a hospital for 3 years before moving here to West Palm Beach. I suffered with my health very significantly, almost lost my life twice. And over those 3 years, I spent 3 birthdays, 2 Christmases, and 1 Thanksgiving in a hospital. I made a miraculous recovery. And so that empowers me.
Wow.
And that motivates me to give back because it's my time.
Wow, that's amazing.
So
Well,
that's the big one.
all right, all right. So I don't know. Whoever's a future guest, you may have a tough time answering that question when it's your turn.
That was a loaded answer, right? But that's the truth.
Yeah,
It's every day.
All right. So second one here. So in 4 sips or less, we were just talking about them. Favorite supercar or car?
Favorite supercar or car? Okay, so if my favorite brand is Ferrari. I love Ferrari. I just think that it's elegant. My favorite car. I would say, this is interesting. I love trucks. Like, I do love them. I would say I've owned a lot of different cars. My favorite car that I've owned, and I've owned the BMW X5. Now I currently have a Mercedes, is the Range Rover. I thought that the Range Rover, the big one SUV, that was like a beast. It was a tank in the snow, and so I would say that was my favorite one I've had.
Okay.
But I also had the Maserati Ghibli, and I loved that too. That was fun. I mean, she would jump. She would be right off the line.
Well, perfect. That will lead us right into the next question here. So in 4 sips or less, what's the fastest you've ever driven?
125.
Does your Maserati do 185?
Oh, I could probably go way faster. Actually, I'm going to say maybe faster than that, but around there. And it's not legal. But you know what? I didn't do it today. And so I'm okay. But I would drive. Actually, it's a great question because not that I want to carry on forever, but I do want to take lessons. I want to learn how to race cars. I just, I haven't had the time. But I've actually spoken to some of our local race car drivers here, and they've pointed me in the right direction because I do want to start racing.
And it's a bummer that Palm Beach or Moroso or whatever we call it was closing, and it's a race. Drag strip, quarter-mile racetrack out there here, Western Palm Beach County, and they're closed. The owner's closed, and so it's a bit. It's been around for a long time. A lot of history, also.
I did a photo shoot there, and they were drag racing during my shoot, and it was such an awesome place. And I've been to events there, and it's Palm Beach International is, I guess, Raceway is what it would be called.
PBIR,
it was just so. It's sad.
Yeah.
But oh well.
So.
What can you do?
Yep. So, all right. So,
but yes, I would say 125. That's my final answer.
Okay. Of course, it's on a closed circuit course there.
95. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
So, when your law enforcement friends better not hear this.
No, they know I'm good. They know I'm good. They do, and they know I'm respectful. So.
What car was it?
You know what? I actually was thinking about that as you said it. It probably was the Ghibli, but it could have been. I mean, my old car, my Range Rover was a beast. I mean, it had a huge tank, and so it was just rock star.
Right.
I would say maybe that one. I would say that it's interesting because I think that in terms of SUVs, the X5 versus the Mercedes is totally different. Mercedes is more luxury, and X5, if even the steering's tighter, it's tighter like a race car.
Right.
So I raced a lot more in that car than I do now. It's more of a leisure car. So I would say if it wasn't that one, it had to have been the X5.
So this is a bonus question here. I'm going to get to question 4, but I'm going to ask you this bonus question is. So where does that put you with thoughts about electric cars now?
Okay, so I'm not a really great person to ask that question.
Okay.
Because I'll tell you why. Electric's amazing. They're great. I mean, it makes the concept.
They can be fast.
They are. They're light, and the concept is great.
Yeah.
I have nothing bad to say about electric except for one thing, and you actually are going to add this. So apparently it won't be an issue. They are silent.
Yeah.
I love, as a car person, I love the
roar.
sound of the engines. I
know.
can feel it in my chest. I love that power, and the fact that they are so quiet to me is like, oh no, you know. But they apparently are going to add the noise. Because that is it's a big thing. It doesn't feel like it's a real car without it. But if they add it, then you know.
Well, I tell you, they say in motorcycles.
I mean, they're beautiful cars. They are.
They say loud pipes save lives because you can hear the motorcycle. So when you're changing lanes in a vehicle on the highway, you know, at least you hear. It's like a siren on a truck too, right? Yeah. So, but okay.
It's an interactive thing. Noise is an interaction. I mean, if you're at a race and all of a sudden they're going around the side, they're all there, and then they're coming your direction, and you hear it like that's great. Yeah.
For those of you listening to the podcast, I was trying to quietly go what it sounds like with a car whizzing by. You know, if you go to a NASCAR race or an IndyCar race or Formula One race and a pack of cars go by, it is deafening.
It's amazing.
The force, the sound, and everything.
Yeah,
so,
it is. It's so neat.
All right, so last question here. In 4 sips or less. So as you mentioned, you're very familiar with Palm Beach.
Yes.
You've been visiting, and you know. If somebody was visiting, what's the must-see thing or place, or what's the must thing somebody should go see in Palm Beach or in this area
in
here?
terms of like an attraction or restaurants, or what are they like? Does it matter? I would say,
like if you told somebody, say, I have one day in Palm Beach, and this is the one thing I want to not miss out. So
I did a magazine article for Voyage Miami magazine, and they asked me this question, and there was a lot of information in the one question in that one day. It would be a busy day for that person, but I would tell you that like some of the things that I would say right away. I mean, you have to go to Worth Avenue. You have to go to the Breakers. The Breakers is amazing. I mean, I go there sometimes just to think. I'll walk around outside by the ocean. I love it. It's one of my favorite places. That's where I'm going after this. And you know, Worth Avenue. You also, I would say, check out the Flagler Museum. I would say absolutely go to the Colony. It's totally different. Pink Paradise is incredible. It's a totally different feel. It's a boutique hotel feel than the Breakers. It's absolutely different. It's gorgeous. They have a great restaurant. It's fantastic. And you know, so the other things I would say is you want to do some of the Palm Beach like original things. I would definitely go to Green's Pharmacy. You know, they have the Beach Club. There's go to the Esplanade to do some more shopping if you wanted to. You go to the ocean. I mean, there's a lot to do and lot to see. Yeah.
All right, so you have 24 hours. This is
I would check the museums
like
too.
Episode of like
Norton and Society. The Four Arts is fantastic. Four Arts is great.
All right, so if you ever see the Kiefer Sutherland show 24, this is exactly what Reina described.
Yes. If I took you on a tour, we'd be busy. Lots of restaurants, lots of people you want to talk to.
It's a good thing you drive fast because you definitely got a lot to cover.
Yeah, you just got to jump out of the car real quick.
Oh my God, that's too funny. So yeah, and it's unfortunate that as long as I've lived here, as I've mentioned, you know, I haven't been to the museums. I haven't been over yet. You know,
I'm a member of the Norton Museum, and the Norton's fantastic.
Yeah.
It is. It's great.
It's like it took us forever to go up to the lighthouse and actually go up the top of it, you know, and that took forever. But we finally did it. So, but yeah, no, that's pretty. Like I said, there's a lot of history here. Palm Beach, Palm Beach County area, West Palm. This area is got a lot of history.
Yeah.
Good, bad, and different. But every place is like that, right? But like we were talking about the history of Flagler and, you know, the summer home people vacation. There was no bridges yet, you know, when they were here. So it's
when
a
the
crazy.
Kennedys were here. They had. I mean, they're historic. This is where they would spend their time in the winter,
Right.
and so, yeah.
So very
it's great
cool.
lineage.
So, all right. So.
Thank you guys for listening.
What do you got?
Thank
What do you got that you want people to check out? Well, here's the shameless plug promotion.
Here we go.
Hit it up.
Okay,
Hit 'em up.
so I would say my company is Reina Kendall Public Relations. It's all one word. That's me on Instagram, on Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn as well. But I would say if you want to see the modeling, it's Reina's Raves, which is the same thing, at Reina's Raves. I have a website as well, but it's still new and in the works. So check me out, Reina Kendall Public Relations, on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Check out Reina's Raves for the modeling. And I hope to meet all of you very soon.
All right, there you had it.
Thank you.
So what I forgot here, we were live on the show here taping and I totally forgot. I almost forgot. We almost ended without forgetting. I forgot to welcome you as part of the alums now. You are now part of the Drums and Rums alums there.
Thank you.
So
look
there
at
you
that.
go. I'll hold that for you. There you go. So.
Okay.
So
I love it.
So there you go. Okay. She's now an alum there. So as I say.
Drums and Rums alum.
Yep, that's all right. I know. Somebody gave me a hard time about it rhyming. So
it's really good fabric.
yeah. So
I love this.
So.
It's very nice. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having me today. I really
you
appreciate
got it. I appreciate it. Like I said, I know we've both been busy and catching up.
I'm having me time.
I know. So yeah. So all right. So check out everything. Check out Drums and Rums. Follow us on the YouTube channel there. Again, we're trying to grow that. All the social media too. Check out drumsandrums.com and Facebook and so forth. And again, this is Paul. And Reina?
I'm Reina Kendall. And if you have any topics that you want us to elaborate on and do again, let us know. We'd love to hear from you.
Maybe we got to have Reina on more often.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe we need to start our own. We got to start another podcast together. We'll never know.
Vote now.
There we go. All right. This
Thank you.
This Paul where the backbeats meets the spirits. Thank you, y'all. Have a great night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.